Awesome. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hear about our assistive technology guided hands. I'm going to start off with a quick presentation and then go right into doing a live demo of the device, sharing how to properly set up the device for clients, and also how to adapt the product for children and adults of various levels of hand mobility. So, I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know if I can see a thumbs up or let me know if you can see the screen okay. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right. I'm just gonna hide everything. Okay, perfect. So our company is Imaginable Solutions. We create assistive technology to improve the quality of life for people with limited hand mobility. So our product is Guided Hands. It is an assistive device that enables people with limited hand mobility to write, paint, draw, and access technology through touchscreen devices and keyboards. So this is a bit of a sneak peek. I will be doing a demo, but how Guided Hands works is it's utilizing the gross motor skills in the individual shoulder rather than them using the limited fine motor skills in their hand. So I actually created Guided Hands for my friend with cerebral palsy. She loved to paint, but as her condition progressed, she wasn't able to hold onto a paintbrush. So my background's in biomedical engineering, and I created Alyssa, the first prototype, to give her back her ability to do what she loves and paint again. And as soon as I saw Alyssa light up as she painted, I was inspired to help others like her. And that's when I met Bella, a little girl with cerebral palsy. And as soon as she painted with Guided Hands, the widest smile spread across her face. She turned to her mom and said, "Mom, I want one." And the mom turned to me and asked, "How much is it?" And at that point, the thought of selling the device never crossed my mind. But in that moment, I realized that I created something that could impact someone's life. So a week later, I created Imaginable Solutions. So Guided Hands is used by many of you can testify to the different types of congenital injuries that people who exhibit limited hand mobility. So Guided Hands has been used across the world in homes, hospitals, schools, in 23 countries. We definitely made sure that Guided Hands was accessible and tested the device with over 975 health professionals and patients. So this is just a snapshot of the impact that we're creating on Magical Solutions with Guided Hands. On the left is Mila. She's using the device to color for the first time. In the center is Jeff. He has cerebral palsy and he's using the iPad to spell out words and communicate with us, which is really important because he's nonverbal. And on the right is Annabelle. She has arthritis and she's using the device to play a game of solitaire to keep her brain stimulated during her recreational therapy. So again, Guided Hands uses the gross motor skills instead of the limited fine motor skills in the hand, promoting that shoulder engagement. So we've had a lot of people use it in physiotherapy to promote shoulder control, hand-eye coordination, and lots of different ways to ultimately make rehabilitation more fun and in the classroom more accessible for learning. So Guided Hands is an international award-winning product, and it's really great to share with you our story and to work with such inspiring individuals like yourselves who are working towards making this community have a better quality of life. And yeah, so that just kind of quickly sums up. I just want to be mindful of time, so that might have been a little bit fast, but just wanted to sum up why we're doing what we're doing. So after this, I will send you this PDF, this PowerPoint in a PDF. It will show you a condensed instructional video, a condensed adaptations video. So you'll have all of these great resources. And just if you wanted to join our Instagram or Facebook community, we share lots of different pictures and videos of clients using the device. So giving our community some great ideas behind how to use the device. So without further ado, I will show you how to use Guided Hands and set it up. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop it in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so you know what? I am going to try to, um, I don't know if the host can try to spotlight me, um, or if everyone can pin me, just so that I'm nice and big for everyone. But Yeah, just to make sure that I'm in your field of view. Okay, so everything in white is 3D printed. So you can wipe it down with a Lysol wipe, a disinfectant. Just don't put it in the dishwasher because it will melt. Awesome, I'm spotlighted. Thank you for that. Okay, so we have four different hand pieces accommodating different hand sizes and levels of hand mobility. So our spherical handpiece is really great for individuals who are weak. They just rest their hand on here. Really no grasping efforts are needed. But then if someone has more tightness in their hands, spasticity, their fingers are just going to curl around like this. Now I'm going to start the demo with this. I'll come back to these. So all of these hand pieces have a hole on one end and a hole on the other. This is what makes it ambidextrous. So since I'm right-handed, I'm going to twist this into the left hole until it's snug in place. And all of these hand pieces have a dovetail end right here, which corresponds to the slot here. So now I can put it in here, and that's what makes the hand pieces interchangeable. So this blue arm is able to bend so that I can see where I'm going, and it's connected to our utensil holder. So I'm just going to use a marker. The thinnest size this can accommodate is a thin paintbrush, and the largest size is a thicker marker, like a highlighter. But I consider this a thin one. So I'm going to grab some paper. If I'm right-handed, I'll push my paper to the left-hand side just so I can reach all aspects of the page. So you can see the guided hands is purely mechanical. There's really no setup other than choosing the handpiece most comfortable for the client, loading it up on the left side or right side, and after that, I can begin my writing. Again, all of the movements are coming from the shoulder. I find that cursive writing is actually a little bit easier because you don't have to take your marker off the page, but you can easily draw, easily move around, very fluid. So I can easily swap this marker out for a paintbrush, put my paint palette up here, dip into my paint to do my painting, dip into some water. For sake of time, I'm going to skip over the painting and go right to our iPad, which is really great. So many different applications on the iPad. So I just use a pen stylus, nothing fancy. I find that with newer iPads, we can get away with a pen stylus. With older iPads, you sometimes need that Apple Pencil. So I can put the wrist strap on so I feel secure. And now I'm able to move around. So the game that Jeff was playing was Wordscapes. So let me find that. There's lots of different things, games. We had Annabelle play solitaire. Where was the Wordscapes? Over here. So lots of different ways to use this, again, for children, for adults, lots of different individuals. You know what? I might not be connected to Wi-Fi, so we're just gonna get out of this so that we can show you some other things. So even, again, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi, I apologize, but even being able to type is something that you can do. Typing, playing games. Oh, there's also a really great communication app that we use called Spoken. It's free. Let me see if it's on. Oh, it's over here. Let me see. So there's communication apps to for individuals as well. So again, lots of different applications on the iPad. So if I had a client who had more spasticity in their hand, what I'd do is I'd wiggle the handpiece out, twist this off, and I'm going to use our largest flat handpiece. I'm going to twist it on here. Now there's a couple different ways to hold on to this handpiece. So again, that has the same dovetail end, pops right in here. I can grasp it like this. And again, I can move this. I'm just going to tighten it up, move this into place so I can see where I'm going. My fingers can curl like this, like this. I've seen some people do a 3-finger grasp. And they're able to use the device like this. So now I will now kind of weave into adaptations to make the device accessible for different clients that we've seen along our journey. So I had a young girl who was moving her hand up and she couldn't hold onto the handpiece. So what we did was we grabbed a scrunchie and we put it right over her hand here, just right on her knuckles. That way she stayed on the device and also she looked fashionable while doing so. So she has the scrunchie, the two straps here. So another thing that we've seen with individuals who have spastic movements is that they do this. So they will hit the stands up there. So what we have done is sometimes we will limit the range of motion that the client can do using a pool noodle, the slit cut into it. So I'm actually just going to get rid of the iPad. But so I got my pool noodle, I put it up here, and that way I'm able to work in a certain range of motion. And then so if you also wanted your client to stretch and you wanted them to not come back, we can put a smaller piece of a pool noodle right on the bottom here. And then that will promote them to still reach and not have to come back. So again, you can play around with the range of motion that the client's able to work in. We've seen some people have some elbow dropping. So with the elbow dropping, we can definitely put this down. However, we want them to be in a better position like this. So what we do to prevent the elbow dropping, now I'm going to demonstrate it using this tape. It's not strong, would not recommend. I don't have my duct tape with me, but I'd cut a piece of a small pool noodle. I'd grab some tape, definitely stronger than this one. This is just simple for showing for demos. And I put this underneath the wrist rest here. So now this way the client is able to, if they want to lean back, they can do so and still be able to make contact. Now, we've seen some people put rollers on the bottom of this piece because they don't want the friction. Because right now we're getting a little bit of friction from the pool noodle. Now, some people actually want that friction for their clients, but then some don't. So again, you can kind of customize it to your client's needs. Now, similarly, we've seen some people who are very strong and they'll push down and they'll do this and they'll drag their fingers. We don't want that. So using the same pool noodle, we'll put it on the front end. Again, with sturdier tape for sure. And then they're able to, if this was just a little bit thicker, I'm still able to make contact, but I'm not going to be dragging my fingers and hitting them. So you can see that the pool noodle is just right underneath there. So another thing that we've seen is people who have even a little bit of tremors. We've seen putting on a small wrist weight for them. So we've seen a couple different ways that people have done this, where they'll actually put the wrist weight and then use the device. Now, it is a bit heavy, so I'm gonna elbow drop. So what I actually had a occupational therapist do last weekend was she actually put it on the front. She front-ended it so that we wouldn't have any of that. Oh, I think I put it on wrong. What thing in it? So she put it on the front end so that her client wouldn't have that elbow drop. And then that way, so I guess it can help prevent them from elbow dropping because it's again front ending it with the weight here so that they can do that. And then again, if they do have some spastic movements or a little bit of tremors, then the weight also helps as well. And this actually feels a lot more comfortable. And you know what? It's probably more ergonomic for the hand as well. It's actually putting my hand in a better position. So the wrist weight at the top really does help with again tremors, but then also the elbow dropping as well. Now, we've had lots of occupational therapists from across the world say, Leanna, what if my client can't pronate? All of these hand pieces are designed for this grasp. So what we have created is a joystick hand piece. Now, we are actually launching this next month. So this is kind of a never seen before hand piece. So I'm just going to untwist this. And we're not going to be like Apple, where we're going to make this piece not fit in here. All of these pieces will be able to retrofit. So even if you had a client or a family or a school who purchased guided hands today, if they wanted to then purchase this hand piece later on, they can totally do that. So we're not going to do that to you guys. So anyways, wrist strap comes up like this just to give more support so that I don't even need to grasp onto this. I can just kind of let my hands go like this and I'm able to move around. So again, we're listening to our community of different ways we can make this device accessible. And everything's 3D printed, so we can offer customized solutions for families too, and students and adults and whatnot. The last few things I want to show you is how Guided Hands is working is, again, using the shoulder, using the gross motor skills here. So my elbow's kind of hovering. Now, if I want to drop the elbow, I can totally get this blue arm and bend it downward, so I'm still making contact with the board, but to make it a bit more comfortable, if I want to drop that elbow, I can also put a slant board underneath here. Sorry, I'm going to get in a weird position so I can demonstrate this for you. But able to rest my elbow and put the iPad or whatnot on here. And it's actually really great for people who have visual impairments as well. So what I do, I got a baking sheet, kind of like Dyson, but cheaper on Amazon. And I can put my iPad on here, my communication device, and then that way, sorry, I'm a little bit twisted because I'm in a corner, but then that way they're able to make contact with the iPad and be able to see it better too. So that's been a great adaptation for those kinds of clients. Now, I don't have the product with me, but again, in the adaptations video, you'll see it. This is a suction cup. We can't, for clients who, and you know what, I'm just going to remove this. We've had some clients who are super strong. And what they do is they'll use the device and then they'll do this. So we do have these little rubber feet on the underside of the device. However, it's not going to prevent any motion from going up. So what we've done is we'll drill 4 holes into the board, get our suction cups, put it underneath the device. So if we have a hole, we'll stick it through here, and then we'll have 4 suction cups, and these suction cups are super strong. Again, I apologize that I don't have the version that has the suction cups with me today, but they are super strong, and you will take the table before you take the device off. So they're really great. So sometimes if we have clients or families that have told us beforehand that they would benefit from the suction cups, we will actually pre-drill the holes for them. But of course, it depends on the client. Now, we actually provide next month, along with the joystick handpiece, we're actually going to be providing all of those adaptations, just kind of like in a bundle kit. We're going to call it our OT bundle kit, so that families or health professionals don't have to run out and kind of collect all these different things. Another thing that I didn't show you that's also going to be included is a light board. So that's really great for people who also have visual impairments, to just attenuate all the colors and stuff better. Oh, the last thing I actually forgot is we have these really great bungee cords. Bungee cords and binder clip. Binder clip, pretty intuitive. Just clip your paper to the board just so it doesn't run all over the place. Now these bungee cords, again, people have asked, can we add resistance into here? So bungee cord is gonna hook around here. I like to double loop it just to add more resistance. Again, it depends on the client. You can add this on the other side, but honestly, I feel like one side is enough. But when I move up, obviously it's causing a little bit of tension here. So I'm actually able to put some force and practice some shoulder activation and muscle to move upwards. I've also seen clients use the device. I actually had a young boy who had autism who wanted to move away from hand over hand, but he had some mobility in his fingers. So he actually used the device as an arm sliding system like this. And the occupational therapist put a switch at the top here. And with the resistance here, he actually moved up to hit the switch and moved. I believe they had two switches. So he was practicing these movements as well, with the resistance. So again, use the iPad, can even, if you really wanted to, so just as a, to remove the hand over hand. So lots of different ways to adapt guided hands. And the last thing I'll mention before I'll open it up to questions, because I know we have a few minutes, is the seating height is pretty important for the device. So again, I said it so many times, you're using gross motor movement in the shoulder to use the device. So if I am sitting lower than the table, my device is up here, I am going to be straining that shoulder and it's going to get fatigued really quick. So if you can put the device as close to the table or your legs as possible, so kind of like normal eating height. But I've also seen some people put a lap tray and they'll put guided hands. The youngest person who's used guided hands was 6 months. She had cerebral palsy, and the oldest was 97. She had dementia. And the woman with dementia didn't have a lot of shoulder strength, so she actually put it in her lap with the lap tray and just used it like this, barely using a lot of the shoulder. Because it's so slidey, you can like any movement will help, which is sometimes a double-edged sword because some patients need the friction. So that's why we have those adaptations. But yeah, we've seen some people again suction cup it to wheelchair trays, get a clamp to wheelchair trays. So lots of different ways. Usually we just tell families and organizations just reach out to us. There's definitely a client out there that has experienced the same challenge and we've been able to help them out. So we just encourage everyone to reach out to us. And I forgot to mention, I apologize, that Guided Hands is $629 USD and I believe is available at your assistive tech center in your state, which is super exciting. So that anyone can go and trial it out. But we do help families with finding grants and kind of navigating through insurance. We had a few families actually get coverage for Guided Hands using the HCPCS code 1399. So we're trying to work with more families and clients to understand the reimbursement for guided hands and just try to make it as accessible as we can. But I'll pause there because I think I got 4 minutes left. And maybe if there's any questions or anything that maybe I missed or any thoughts, I can definitely cover that. Yes, okay, someone asked for the cost. I'm glad I mentioned it. Oh, and because we're Canadian, we're not charging any tax in the US just yet. So that's good too. Um, awesome. Seeing lots of love in the chat. So thank you. Trying to think if there's anything else. If there's any questions, if not, I'm gonna ask you guys for feedback. One of the things that we're trying to figure out is do we need the resistance in the sliding system? In the other room beside me, we created a new version, a 2.0, that actually has adjustable resistance. So we're trying to figure out if that's great or not. Um, but um, but it doesn't necessarily help people with tremors. It's tricky because if you increase the resistance in the sliding system, your circles become squares. So there does need to be some level of freedom in the sliding system to help you write and to do those movements. So we're trying to, the gyro spoon, we're trying to see if we can implement that sort of technology into guided hands, to see if we can help people more with tremors. So that would be really cool. Okay, I see a question. Can folks use it to write by hand too, or mainly for drawing or selecting kind of movement? Use it to write by hand too. Guided hands can help people write, paint, draw, and use touchscreen devices. If you use that hand piece, where you can, kind of isolate your finger and use the iPad without having that blue arm, then you can probably use it to write and just use it as that forearm support. I hope that answered the question. Um, is there a possibility to design a device for someone that can hold a pen but needs support for they are lacking the muscle by their pinky? So an adaptive pen specifically designed for them. We definitely are focused on adapting guided hands for clients. If you're thinking that the sliding system of guided hands would still be useful, then we can totally do that. If it's something similar, something a bit different, happy to connect with the individual and see what we can do, since we do have an engineering team and they have lots of 3D printers, but more so adapting the guided hands for the client. So if they would benefit from the sliding system, if they do have gross motor movement, they'd like to use a sliding system, then we can definitely have a chat, get on a Zoom call with our engineers and see what we can do. Any other questions? I guess I don't quite know who the audience is. Are you all OTs, ATs, speech language pathologists, AT, a mom on the call? That's awesome. Hi, mom. SLP, DVR counselor, PT, AT. All right, awesome. There's people in the audience. Awesome. BCBA, very cool. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, again, if so the price is 629 USD. Happy to work with families, connecting them with grants, helping them through insurance. We're still learning that process to help out, and we definitely want to make sure that price is not a barrier for these families. So there's always something that we can do. So just tell your client to at least try it. I know that some families don't want to try the tool because they're like, you know what, I can't even afford it. I don't want to try it, fall in love with it, and then not be able to afford it. Still tell them to try it out and contact us. Right now, this is not too public, but right now we're creating a Guided Hands sponsorship program where we'll have donors, philanthropists sponsor a Guided Hands for a family who can't afford it. So again, one way or another, we will do our best to make sure that they have the Guided Hands, especially if they've even trialed it at your tech center and they're like, this is gonna be life-changing for my daughter or my son, but I just can't afford it. Those stories break my heart, and my team always gets mad at me because sometimes I got a bigger heart than a business side. So again, just introduce Guided Hands to your clients. There's always something that we can do to get it into their hands. A loaner program, we don't. Again, we're trying to figure out what does the community need. Even like a financing plan, we've been touching into that as well, offering financing options for families. But loaner, the tricky thing with loaner is that one person does it, they don't return the device, and they ruin it for everyone else. So I have built lots of trust issues around loaning the device and people just not talking to us after. So loaning out the device is tricky for us. But if you did have like assistive technology centers, if you do have a lending library program, then we're happy to sell you that device and help you maintain it. So if there's any problems, anything that's lost, because you're introducing it to families as part of like a lending library program, we make sure that you have all the pieces, like the joystick hand piece, because we want to make sure that we give everyone a good first try of using it. So definitely let us know if that's something you want to do. And we also offer volume pricing. So I know North Carolina Assistive Technology Center, they have 9 or 11 different locations, and they bought a few Guided Hands per location. So we ended up doing a pretty big deal with them, and we did volume pricing. So if your organization is looking for a few, definitely reach out to us. I don't know if where you located is for us or someone else, but we're located in Hamilton, Ontario, but we have about 40 assistive technology centers in the US that can facilitate trial and Guided Hands. And again, the AT center in your state has one. I want to say, is there one in New Jersey? I want to say yes. Yes, awesome. Glad. Um, but yeah, we're all across the US in 40 states. So if you ever have any friends or know anyone in other states, we can connect them to a center as well. Um, will you be emailing a list of centers? Um, the tricky thing about the centers is that we're actually in the process of right now, we're actually in the process of creating a page on our website called Find a Guided Hands Near You and have all of the centers on there so that families can go and see which one's closest to them. So we'll definitely have that information. I see that Naomi just popped in the contact Trial Guided Hands in New Jersey, which is awesome. Um, yeah, trying to think of other different use cases. I know we're already 4 minutes over. I'm just trying to give you as much information as I can while everyone's taking time out of their day to listen to me, which I really appreciate. And again, I thank you for all the love in the chat. Um, but yeah, so we host OT webinars pretty much like 3 or 4 times a month, very similar to what I just did right now. So they're on our website, and I'll pop our website in. I think it was already in the chat, so thank you for that. But um, we have our OT. I'll just bring you to the page directly. Um, so that if you had anyone, I know that you're getting a recording of this probably, but if you had any families who were interested in Guided Hands and wanted a quick one-on-one, this is my child's mobility, do you think this would help? They can hop onto our OT webinar. It's mainly for OTs, but we welcome anyone and everyone, and and we can answer some direct questions. We also have the ability on that website to schedule your own one-on-one demonstration of the product with our team. Again, really great for us to see the mobility of the individual. So we'll ask them to do a couple different exercises, mainly if they're tight and they're up here and they can't move their hands down. That's one of the indicators where we would say, you know what, maybe the existing model of Guided Hands would not work, but we've seen some people where they've mounted the device, and we saw one boy who he was able to move like this. So we mounted it and then he just moved like this. He couldn't move up and down, but he was able to move like this. So we just mounted it with him. So again, there's sometimes different adaptations we can do, but we are always honest and if we know that it would be a good fit or not. But sometimes it's just better to try it out, just give it a try. We've had people with tremors who I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work for them. And then they use it and then it works. And I'm like, how did you play a game of solitaire perfectly on the iPad and you couldn't write? Like they couldn't write with Guided Hands. They were all over the place, but they played a game of solitaire on the iPad perfectly. Maybe the health professionals in the room can tell me why that happened, but I always say just try it, which is you can't lose anything if you don't try. How much does it weigh approximately? 3.5 kilograms. It's very lightweight. And give me 1 second. It's uh it's very lightweight because all the pieces are mainly 3D printed, and we just have those carbon steel rods. But we do provide a bag for Guided Hands to carry it in. This comes included within the $629 price. And yeah, the bag is obviously just to make it more portable. And then stuffing all the adaptations in that bag is really helpful as well. And all your papers and pens and markers. Awesome. Any other questions? If we've had some schools purchase Guided, I've had a lot of schools actually purchase Guided Hands, and they've requested quotes from us. They've needed like a W-8 form because we're Canadian. They've had to set us up as vendors. All of that we're happy to go through. Just send us an email. I'm gonna pop in my email right here. It's just our info email. Our website's also sorry, our phone number is also on the website. So if you ever need to get in contact, you're like, Leanna, I had a school an OT at a school say, we just got approved. We need a quote by 12 o'clock today, or else we're not going to get it. So we work really fast and we respond to our emails pretty fast. So if you need any quotes or anything, any paperwork that needs to be filled out, we're happy to go through that process with you all. Especially the insurance side of things with families. Because we're always trying to advise families of different ways to get coverage. So if you have ever gone through that process, we'd love to be a part of it so that we can tell other families as well. Um, awesome. Okay, thank you for the 15 who are still sticking around past 12:30, or at least 12:30 for me. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll slowly wrap up. Thank you so much for letting me share all about Guided Hands and why I created this. It's again so wonderful to connect with individuals like yourselves. It definitely keeps the fire in me burning. As you can obviously tell, I am very young, and creating this company has been one of the best decisions I've made. I created the company when I was 19. So again, it's been a great journey. I'm 24 now, and it's just been so wonderful to connect with individuals like yourselves because it keeps me going. Again, every single time someone uses a Guided Hands and we see their smiles and them just light up, all the pictures and videos we get from families, it just helps us keep on going. And I'm sure that's the same that you guys experience when you're working with your clients. It's a really rewarding space, which is great. Um, awesome. Okay. Well, I can talk forever and stay on the call for another 4 hours with you all, but I'm sure we all have work to do. So I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for learning about Guided Hands. Thank you to Naomi and the team for inviting me, and please get in contact with us. And yeah, we'd love to have your help in introducing Guided Hands to the world and just letting people know that this technology exists, that it's made in Canada, that we keep everything local. We're a local team, we're a small but mighty team, and we're here for the community. So, yeah, I would love for you to help us advocate for Guided Hands and for others as well.